Welcome to the Intro to Longevity Lifestyle Glucose Foundations course. I'm glad that you're interested in this. This is the first place to start if you want to begin really improving your health. This is the first step towards building a lifestyle, a longevity lifestyle, a lifestyle that is very sustainable, is very easy, and will provide dividends significant for you, your family, and for those in your circle of love and belonging. So I'm glad that you wanted to learn more about this. My name is Dr. Chris Edwards. I'm a doctor of osteopathic medicine, and in my clinic, we specialize in this kind of thing, teaching people how to establish a lifestyle of longevity. The very core thing, the first thing that we need to focus on, the foundation, is managing blood glucose. So let's talk about that. Why does blood sugar matter? So as we know that when we eat food, we chew it up, we swallow it, and in our stomachs that food gets broken up into smaller pieces that are absorbed by our body. Those pieces are carbohydrates, which are different kinds of sugars that are absorbed. There's proteins, which gets broken down into amino acids that are absorbed. And then there's fat, which gets broken down and absorbed into our bloodstream that way. The first thing that we need to do on our road towards longevity is to make sure that we have good control over our blood sugar, meaning we don't have a lot of glucose spikes throughout the day. In order to absorb sugar that our body has broken down and secreted into the bloodstream, in order for our cells to absorb that, our body releases a hormone called insulin, which most people have heard of at least. Insulin's job is to tell the body's cells to pull in this blood sugar to use for energy, to use for metabolism, and just help the cells perform their daily functions. When we have rapid glucose spikes, such as we eat something really sugary or something that has a lot of refined carbohydrates, the body responds by a large surge of insulin. We have a lot of fuel available, and the pancreas responds by letting this hormone out, and that tells the body cells to pull the sugar in for use. The problem that comes along with the standard American diet is that many times we overconsume quick absorbing carbohydrates, whether it be in the form of sugary drinks, a lot of sugar or high fructose corn syrup, or just refined carbohydrates that get broken down very easily and absorbed very quickly. Over time, these spikes, these blood sugar spikes, lead to resultant insulin spikes. As our body continues to receive wave after wave of insulin from our carbohydrate-rich diets, the cells start to ignore the insulin. I use the analogy of people knocking on your door and then running away. The first time someone knocks on the door, you open, oh, there's nobody there. Second time, knock on the door, open the door, oh, there's nobody there. The third time, knock on the door, oh, nobody there. The fourth or fifth time, you're going to be a little bit wary of who's knocking on your door because you've been burned so many times in the past. Eventually, you're going to stop answering the door when people knock on it because you're suspicious that it's just going to be someone who's run away already. The body's cells are similar. The more insulin that they get exposed to over and over and over, if it happens too quickly or too frequently, the cells start to become resistant to it. They start to ignore it. And that is the beginnings of prediabetes and a host of other issues, which include inflammation, vascular strain, hormonal disruption, accelerated aging, etc. I use the analogy with my patients of a rocket lifting up off the launch pad. Rockets have an abundance of fuel that is very volatile, but when it's used in a controlled fashion, it provides the upward thrust to lift this very heavy rocket and its cargo off of the ground and up into the sky. Sugar is a similar kind of thing. It's a very useful nutrient, a macronutrient for us. And when it's absorbed slowly, when it's utilized slowly, it can become a very powerful, helpful thing for us. But just like a rocket, where all the fuel is ignited at once and it explodes on the launch pad, that's not a very useful tool for space exploration. Just like if we have a lot of glucose that's absorbed at once, that's not a very healthful thing for our bodies. It can lead to disease down the road, disease which can change our longevity. So that's why glucose is so important, and that's the first thing that we talk about in the Longevity Lifestyle series. You don't have to accept feeling tired, inflamed, or older than your age. Your body is capable of repair, and your choices can help you get there. So below are 5 simple habits that are research-backed, and they're just a good, easy way to start the road to transformation, to start taking control of your life, start this longevity lifestyle. The first steps which will lead to immediate dividends and lead to chronic benefits, good benefits down the road. So the first one that we wanted to talk about is the habit of eating your food in the right order. This is the idea where we want to eat our vegetables first, the proteins second, and the carbohydrates last. So let's say that you have a steak, potato, and salad for dinner. Instead of diving right into the potato and then the steak and then a bite of salad and the potato, steak, bite of salad, instead of mixing all these foods in your stomach at the same time, it's ideal to start with the vegetables first, especially if they're non-carbohydrate containing vegetables or vegetables that don't have as much carbohydrate and have more fiber. The reason is if you eat your vegetables first, vegetables that have a lot of fiber in them, the enzyme that goes to break down carbohydrates in your stomach into the simple sugars that get absorbed, the enzyme that would break down carbohydrate also tries to break down the fiber from the vegetables. But here's the problem, the fiber is insoluble. The fiber is not able to be broken down. So the enzymes get to work chewing away at this fiber that they're not going to have any success in breaking it down and absorbing it. So your workforce of breaking down the carbohydrates is all utilized on something that they're not going to get any benefit from, which sounds like a negative thing, but think about it in terms of utilization of the rocket fuel. You are slowing down the utilization of rocket fuel. You're getting it pointed in a certain direction, which provides useful liftoff and thrust. So you eat your fiber first, you eat your protein next, and then you eat the carbohydrate last. By the time you eat the carbohydrate, a couple things happen. Number one, you are feeling more full. You'll probably eat fewer carbohydrates, which will naturally decrease your blood sugar. And number two, by eating the fiber first, your enzymes are engaged trying to break that down. And so whatever enzymes are available to break down the carbohydrate are going to be a lot fewer in number. The work of breaking down carbohydrates gets done more slowly. Therefore, the sugar doesn't get absorbed as quickly. You don't get that huge spike and then that subsequent crash. So fibrous vegetables like broccoli, green beans, spinach, kale, or lettuce, those are great things to introduce to your body first. Get those in your stomach first to provide that fiber filling, and then also to decrease the activity of amylase so it doesn't break things down as easily. This is a very easy change to begin. You don't have to change what you're eating. You don't have to adopt a new lifestyle or a new dietary habit. Just take what you're eating and change the order up. Okay? I tell people this very first because this is a very large bang for their buck. They get a lot of change just by eating the order of, or changing the order of what they eat. Okay? The next one is based on the same one, but it's a little bit more refined. Instead of just eating your broccoli first, instead of eating your cauliflower first, try to start your meal with a green salad, particularly one that has an oil and vinegar dressing. Okay, so it's the same thing we were talking about. Lettuce, spinach, kale, all these leafy greens, they have a lot of fiber in them. You eat the fiber, it fills you up, it doesn't have as many calories, but it's the enzyme that we're focused on. The enzyme isn't able to break down the fiber, so it gets all tied up. It is working doing this thing that it's not going to be able to accomplish. So when you do eat the carbohydrates, you don't have as much enzyme available to break it down, which is a good thing. So the right kinds of greens you want to eat, like we talked about, spinach, romaine, kale, cabbage, arugula, both of those, or all of those have abundant fiber, but very little carbohydrate. Now, if you're going to eat it in salad form, be wary of the kind of dressing you put on it. Oil and vinegar is a great topping for that. Many people think, oh, oil is fat. I don't want to start my meal with fat. Well, actually, you kind of do want to start your meal with fat because remember, our goal here is carbohydrate management, okay? Carbohydrates are what have been shown to increase insulin in the body, and it's this chronically high insulin, or this repeat elevation of insulin, that leads to the chronic diseases of diabetes and cardiovascular disease, and it can worsen the symptoms of Alzheimer's and a whole host of things which we talk about in other aspects of the longevity lifestyle course. So when you're choosing a salad dressing for your salad, try to find one that doesn't have sugar in it. Someone might think, I've got this nice raspberry vinaigrette. Great, I'm going to put it on my salad. It's got the oil, it's got the vinegar. This is fantastic. Well, it also has a whopping amount of sugar too. So when you're looking for salad dressings, try to find salad dressing that doesn't have sugar, high fructose corn syrup. Even artificial sweeteners are not as harmless as we think they are. The best kind of salad dressing is straight up olive oil and vinegar. If you can taste that, or if you can tolerate that. Many people, they don't like that flavor, so that's fine. But find something that doesn't have a lot of sugar, because then you're going to be getting the benefits of the fiber and you're going to have decreased absorption of carbohydrates. Excuse me, decreased rate of absorption of carbohydrates. These habits, these tricks don't decrease the nutrition, they don't decrease the amount of carbohydrates. What we're looking at is the rate that they are consumed, the rate that they are absorbed, just like the rocket fuel example. We want a nice, steady absorption, not one big explosion of absorption. Habit number 3 is to start increasing the number of whole grains in your diet. Whole grains such as brown rice, quinoa, whole wheat bread, whole wheat pasta. These things contain natural fiber, vitamins, and minerals. Plus, they have, as I stated, the fiber, right? So this is a similar kind of action as eating your vegetables first, or starting with a green salad. You eat the fiber along with the whole grain, and that's going to decrease the rate of absorption, and you get more nutrition with that. Be careful though when you're looking at whole grains. A lot of times labels can be misleading. A bread labeled whole grain may still have enriched white flour as the first ingredient. Enriched white flour means that it's been highly processed, it's been broken down so it's more easily absorbed, more quickly absorbed, which leads to an increase in blood sugar and a subsequent insulin spike. So make sure that when you're finding things like bread or tortillas or pasta, that the first ingredient is whole wheat flour. Okay, if you can find 100% whole wheat, that's great, but at least try to find the whole grain flour as the first ingredient. The next habit is pretty straightforward. Decrease sweet drinks by half. Now, I know that I said that this was supposed to be easy and something that you can add into your life, these tips and tricks. I'm not telling you have to cut out all sugary drinks, because for a lot of people, that's kind of the mainstay of what gets them through their day, which we can talk about elsewhere in the course. But what my goal for you here is to decrease your drinks by half. Don't stop at cold turkey, but start decreasing it by at least half so that you have fewer spikes. Soda or sugary drinks, they are notoriously responsible for spiking blood sugar and giving a subsequent insulin surge as well. That's why very oftentimes people, they start to get sleepy during the middle of the day and they have a caffeinated drink, caffeinated soda for a pick-me-up. Well, it does pick them up. It works for 45 minutes to an hour, and then they start to feel that same sluggishness. They get that sugar crash afterwards. Well, that sugar crash comes about because they've just flooded their system with a bunch of easily absorbable sugar. The body releases insulin to bring that into the cells, but it does too good of a job. It over brings the sugar into the cells, and you end up getting a sugar crash or a lower amount of blood sugar, which leads to the feelings of fatigue and tiredness and the afternoon slump. Notice I said decrease sweet drinks by half, not just sugary drinks. This isn't to say that you can take your sugary soda and replace it with soda that has artificial sweeteners in it. I'm not going to get into the nuances of which artificial sweeteners do what thing, but just know that artificial sweeteners, even though they don't have any calories with them, they don't necessarily have a null effect on the blood sugar. Even non-nutritive sweeteners, sweeteners that don't have any calories, they still can have an effect on your blood sugar. And so it's best to, instead of focusing on the nuances of which artificial sweetener is best, which ones should we avoid, just try to decrease your sweet drinks by half throughout the day. What can you replace it with? Good old water is great. If you can tolerate that. Many people don't like the taste of water, so you can do things like put a squeeze of lemon in it or something like that. So try to decrease your sugary drinks, including sugary coffee drinks, lemonade, and things like that. The last one is drinking 1 to 2 tablespoons of vinegar before eating. And this can be done a variety of ways. Let's first talk about the why of why you should want to do this. We've talked about amylase, the enzyme that breaks down carbohydrates. So eating fiber can get the amylase chewing away at something that it's not going to break down. And vinegar has something called acetic acid in it. That's the thing that gives vinegar its sour or its tart taste. Acetic acid has been shown to decrease the activity of amylase. So it doesn't bind up amylase, so it can't work. It just decreases or slows the activity of it, so it works less efficiently. It's not as quick at working. To drink or to consume 1 to 2 tablespoons of vinegar, some people like to do it straight up. They get a little shot glass, they pour the vinegar, and they, straight down the hatch, which is fine if you want to do that. It might have some negative effects on your teeth enamel, but some people, that's how they prefer to do that. For myself, I like putting it with some water, 1 to 2 tablespoons in a glass of water, and drinking that before I have my largest meal of the day. Because that, number one, the water gives more feeling of fullness in our stomach, so I'm naturally inclined to eat less. And then with the vinegar in it, that decreases the activity of amylase. So when I do eat the carbohydrate of my meal, it's not broken down as quickly. It doesn't matter the kind of vinegar. Apple cider vinegar works just as well as white wine vinegar, which works just as well as rice vinegar. The thing is, it needs to be vinegar. Lemon juice does not do this. Lime juice does not do this because that has citric acid in it. It doesn't have the same effect on the enzyme amylase. It needs to be vinegar, which has the acetic acid, which has been shown to decrease the activity of amylase. So, this pairs very well also with the idea of having a green salad first. We talked about having an oil and vinegar dressing. I like this option because it pairs multiple things. You get an additive effect. You get the fiber from the green vegetables, which fills your belly with fiber. You end up eating less. You get the slowing of amylase because it starts chewing away at the fiber, and then you top that with vinegar as the dressing, and that decreases the activity of amylase. So you get a double benefit, which has an even greater effect on your blood glucose. So that's just the beginning, right? There's more that we could talk about for this foundational step, but if you apply these few tricks, you'll have a much greater impact, or it'll have a good effect on your blood sugar. You'll have less blood sugar spiking, you'll have less increase in insulin, which over time can help decrease the risk of chronic diseases. This is just the very beginning. I have a whole series which I've called the Longevity Lifestyle Masterclass, and it talks about not just nutrition. Nutrition is an important aspect of longevity, but there's more to longevity than just eating the right things. There's components of activity. How do we exercise? How should we exercise so that we can live into our 70s, 80s, 90s, or beyond? How should we approach our family relationships? What are some things that we could do to decrease the amount of stress in our lives? What are some things that we can do to increase our ability to procure healthy foods that don't have a lot of pesticides or a lot of things that we are not really sure what they are in our diets? So it's a masterclass because there are several lecture series that are all wrapped around this idea of a longevity lifestyle, a lifestyle that doesn't impede what you want to do. It doesn't become your life, but it's a way of living. It's sustainable, it's natural, it's designed to be used without medications, without injections, without any major interventions. It's helping your body, living in a way that allows your body to heal itself, allows your body to live up to its full potential of longevity. So that's the next steps. I invite you to learn more by heading to our website, theessentialhealingcenter.com. This is just the very beginning. There's a lot more that we could do, and I hope to work with you as you continue down this journey. Thank you. My name is Chris Edwards, DO, and it's been a pleasure working with you today.